Okay, coming back to the environment. So the first thing that I described is the various roles that are interesting. For example, the requester and the responder are the roles that we need in this case. And then we also have the money to share. So let's say you have two treatments in your experiment, then you configure different values in here, and then you can play between the institution and the environment to describe different flows that you are interested in for the treatments, or to show different values on different screens. Okay. So after this, you see what the functionality of the environment is to define a couple of things. So the first thing that I mentioned was already the money to share, and the second thing that that's basically the treatment difference. And the second thing is what happens in between periods. For example, how are roles matched and how are subjects grouped, and these kind of definitions can be laid in the environment. For example, the role matcher can be used to define like which subject is matched to which role in an experiment. So it could be that in every experiment, everybody has the same role. For example, all of them are assigned the role of bidders, or all of them are assigned the role of agents. Or it could be that in each experiment, each subject has a different role to play in each period, which is the case in the ultimatum game. So in this case, you have to keep swapping between the roles. So that kind of logic is defined in the role matcher, which as always extends one class, which is the role matcher in this case. And the ultimatum game role matcher can be used to define two methods, which is the setup objects and the rematch objects. So the setup objects can be used to define how roles are matched in the first period, and the rematch can be used to define how roles are matched in subsequent periods, like what happens when each period is changed and how roles can be matched between them. So in this case, the logic is rather straightforward. We basically try to randomly assign a role to a subject in the first round. That's what the random generator does. And then in the rematch algorithm, in the rematch function, we try to swap the roles depending on what he was assigned in the earlier round. So this is pretty much the simplest logic that is happening in this case. And then another thing, yeah, so I'm looking for the institution. Yeah, the environment class, exactly. So we were done with the role matcher. So like you see, the two roles of requester and responder were added to a list of roles, which is available in the environment superclass. And then this list of roles is then passed as the parameter to the role matcher object. Okay. The next thing that we are interested in is the subject group matcher, which is the partner matcher. So a subject group matcher denotes how you want to group subjects. Like let's say you invite 10 participants to your lab and you want to put two people in a group, right? So that's different from the role that they will play and how they will be interchanged, right? So the grouping denotes, for instance, I could even put 3 people in a group and so on. So this group allocation is what is done in the subject group matcher. So you could have your own instance of the subject group matcher, and then depending on this, so in here you could define how you want to divide the groups. So in this case, the logic is rather simple. Basically, people are divided into groups depending on their roles. So depending on the roles, they are put into different groups and then they are matched as being in one particular group. Okay, and there is also some logic here to maintain history of partners match, so to make sure that people are not matched to the same group once again. So you can implement like a perfect stranger matching algorithm in this case if you're interested. So this is the subject group matcher, and then here you also specify if you want to reset the matchers after treatment blocks or not. So whether you want the same logic to persist across different treatment blocks, or you want it to be reset after each treatment block, and so on. Okay. So this is in brief the environment. And so like you saw, the main classes of the server are basically the institution, the environment, and the environment uses its own ultimate and game role matcher and the partner matcher in this case, which is defined in the common environment, in the common server project. But you could also have your own subject group matcher in your experiments server package. Okay, so these are some of the building blocks of the server side, and now we will move on to the client side.